The EMU and SRC expansion are pretty large and expensive projects. They're going to be paid for mostly with student fees, and so our student government, the ASUO, actually asked and fought for a referendum so that students would have the decision on whether or not they wanted these projects to move forward. The ASUO doesn't have an official position right now on whether students should vote yes or no, or how people should vote on the referendum, but what we do want is to make sure that we have a very fair referendum process, that students have an opportunity to ask questions and address some of their concerns, and that students have the ability to decide, do they want to pay this fee for these projects. So our position is that we really want to make sure students get all the information they need to make the right choice. I think most students agree that the buildings could use some updating, and so renovations are something that I think most people think could be used at some point in the near future. And I think it would be great to have better spaces for programs, to have more functional spaces for students to meet in and collaborate in. So I think those are all benefits. Better exercise space and more capacity would be another big benefit. I think drawback, probably the largest one, is just the cost. We agree that we need to have renovation for the most part, but is this the right time for that renovation? Is it the right price? And is it going to happen in the right way? And so the drawbacks would be making sure that there's enough student input, that the projects are actually reflective of what students want and what students need, and that we're ready to pay for it over the next 30 years. I say that they're right to be concerned, and that they absolutely should ask as many questions as possible to figure out if this is a project that is worth the cost right now. And it's a completely legitimate concern to not want to pay for the building right now, or to believe that it's too large a burden on affordability and access. So I think that's a valid concern, and I think students need to decide, are the benefits going to be worth it, and is this the right time? If there's a no vote, one day I guarantee the projects will happen. It might not be the same exact projects, they might not look the same, and it might be a different cost, but a no vote does not mean that you do not want renovation to happen, but it does mean that the projects will be delayed, and that they won't happen right now, and that it'll be at least another year before any kind of renovation is able to start. I think if the projects move forward, the benefits that students will see depends partly on how student involvement continues after the referendum. So even if the referendum goes with a yes vote, and even if the projects move forward, it's vital that students make sure that they are involved at every step of the project along the way. And so making sure that students continue to have a strong voice in leading the projects and really directing what they look like will be essential. And if that happens, then I think some of the benefits will be better spaces for students, more spaces for students, and a student union and a student rec center that really meet our needs. I think that, again, it depends on the voice that students have in deciding what they look like. I think our student union is a critical part of building community on campus. I do think that it does that right now, and I think that the EMU is at the heart of our campus, it's at the heart of student life. It is very much a center of student community, and I think that there are ways that a renovation could enhance that and provide more opportunities for community, but I think it depends on making sure that student needs and student voice are at the center of the project. I think that argument is incomplete. I think the University of Oregon is unique. There's a lot about the U of O that other schools can't claim. There's a lot about other schools that the U of O, is different. And so I think that these projects are not essential to making sure that that we're competitive. I think there's a lot of reasons why students come to the U of O. There are a lot of elements of our student experience that are unique and valuable that don't have to do with the renovation and the expansion. And I think as it is, our student union and our student rec center provide a lot of opportunities for students. So I do think there are ways that we could expand those opportunities and make our campus better, but it's really important that students on this campus think about why it's important to the U of O, not why it would necessarily make us more competitive against USC or Ohio State. We should be thinking about our campus and everything that makes the U of O unique. I I think every student should get out there and vote. This referendum means more the more students who participate, and it's really important that 70% of the cost for these buildings are going to come from students. Students pay for the buildings already. We'll continue to pay for them into the future. The union especially, this is our student union, it's the center of our student life, and we need to make sure that we're participating and deciding what we want it to look like as it moves forward.